Hello and not welcome to Not an ABW live show. Arsenal nil, Liverpool 2. Much like, this reminds me much like Christmas 1984. I don't know if it does anybody else. Christmas Eve, I told my parents over Christmas I wanted a Commodore 64 for Christmas. I knew they'd bought me a computer. So Christmas Eve, I was all excited. Christmas Day, open the big present, Commodore 16. I'm having flashbacks. That's how I feel today. With me tonight to shed some tears is Femi. You all right, Fem?
Yeah. Much different mood than last week, right? This time last week, we were bouncing off the walls.
Oh dear, what a letdown! And also from cold and minus probably 200 degrees in Canada, it's Stan. Oh, Stan.
All right, lads. That wasn't how this story was supposed to end. That's not how I had this story playing out at all. You know,
No.
I've been practicing my best laugh in the mirror all week, so that when that final whistle went, I could just stand up and laugh at the television at Klopp. But instead, when the final whistle went, it was just silence in my house.
Highly annoying. Fem, what's your initial thoughts about the game while I go and do some tweets, try and distract myself from this sadness?
I kind of expected that, to be honest. I just didn't see how we were going to score against them. That was my main thing. Overall, it was just disjointed. It reminded me a lot like the Villarreal game last season that we had to win as well at home, and also the year before the Olympiacos game. It just identical to all those games. Hardly created anything. Slow movement of the ball. Yeah, that's what I can say. Stan, what did you overall think?
It's weird, right? Because in that first 15 minutes or so, even though that wouldn't be the sort of lineup that I would put out together, he didn't really have anything else to really fall back on. But I did think for that first 15 minutes, it was all Arsenal. We did have that zip on the ball, and we were causing them problems. But the first goal, the way that, I mean, it literally, I thought my TV had gone into slow motion. The way it just kind of like trundled over the line, and when that happened, it like really took a big bite out of the confidence in the team. And I was thinking, oh no, can we get back into this? You know, I knew that we would have some more spells of attacking play. I just hoped and had my fingers crossed that when we did get them spells, that we'd be able to do something positive with it. But after that first 15 minutes and that first goal, it we never got back to that first 15 minutes. We had a couple of spells which looked bright, but it did knock the stuffing out of us a little bit.
But when you say the first 15 minutes, we've seen this against other big teams. For example, Man City away at the beginning of the season, where we had about 7 or 8 good minutes where we come out of the blocks flying, and anything goes wrong, we let in a goal. There's no coming back, and it's very rare that we play badly and get a result. I think I heard that on the pod last night, actually, that you guys were talking about, Danny. Someone said, how many games have we played this season that we've not played well and got away with something? They said maybe Palace at home and maybe Brighton away are the only 2 games that I can think of as well. So once something goes wrong, it just seems to just fall apart.
Yeah, I forgot that was on there last night. It seems like the times that we play brilliantly, we either lose or draw. That's a good point. Whoever made that, it was probably John or James, because I didn't make it because I didn't know. I don't think we can be too harsh on all the players. I mean, you could see from the start of the game that Tomiyasu was incredibly rusty, wasn't ready for it. He's had an injury, and we could see Lokonga wasn't happy playing or wasn't confident playing in that kind of quarterback role. A few times he'd get the ball and he'd mess it up. Ben White wasn't really on his game today, and he got turned a couple of times. Martinelli was absolutely amazing, but no end product. And Lacazette is... Stan, are you worried about Lacazette? Because since Aubameyang's gone, Lacazette has been the main man up front. Not going to call him a striker. Done virtually nothing apart from being a good captain. tracking back, trying to do all that lot. But as a striker, you want the ball to you. You don't want to have to go and get the ball. You want people to give you the ball. So he's having to go and get it. He's having to track back and he can't do it. It's something he's never done before, and it's something he's not doing now. And he's not scoring goals. I mean, he's unlucky with that free kick, but when you see it in slow mo, that wasn't going in anyway. That hit the bar and come back out. And then he gets one chance during the game, and he skied it. I mean, Alan Smith was saying his body position was all wrong even before he got the ball. But and then Eddie comes on and does well. Ed has a similar kind of problem. So Stan, I
don't even remember him touching the ball.
Yeah, that wasn't given it. So Stan, what is the answer? Good luck with that.
One of the things I noticed with Martinelli when he's out there on the left and he gets the ball and he's doing his bit of wizardry on the ball, and there's two, sometimes maybe three players of the opposition sort of standing around him. I've noticed this now. And I noticed it a lot in this game, but even before this game, why doesn't one or two Arsenal players go over and provide an outlet for him? They all just stand off and they watch him with what he's doing with two or three and see if he can wriggle out or cross the ball. I'd really like to see one or two other players at least going over and providing an outlet for him. And perhaps maybe when he gives the ball to them and he wriggles out, they can give the ball back to him in a dangerous area and create something. So that's something that I remember I wrote down here in my notes. But Lacazette, I know that he's been getting a lot of high praise recently for a lot of the work that he's doing in the team. But for me, it's a purple patch. It's something that I don't think that we can really persist with. If there is any talk about a contract, maybe a 2-year contract with other people coming in so that he's there as a backup to help players bed in, but it's his last dance now, really, and as you say, I mean, before this little purple patch, how often did Lacazette finish 90 minutes? So I worry that his legs are going to, there's a lot more games to come, another 20 games to come. It wouldn't surprise me at some point in the season that we see us turn out for a game where we're not even playing a striker and we're playing, one of the midfielders through the middle as a false nine or something like that, because I'm worried that Lacazette's not going to have the steam to get through the rest of the season if Aubameyang's not going to be available and if Eddie maybe even leaves.
There's no chance that we sell Aubameyang or loan out Aubameyang if this is our only options. We have to make that work, because unless we're planning on all this clearing the decks is to get someone, we have to keep him and get him back in the team, because we're not going to. I mean, whenever we're looking at January 20th, we've got how many league games left, and that's it. There's no Europe, no cups, nothing. I've never. In how many years now? 25 for it.
We've got 18 games left.
Yeah, I've never known that in January for Arsenal. That's ridiculous.
Even in peak Wenger, we didn't do that.
Even in peak Wenger, we'd still get to minimum quarterfinals in Europe, and then in around March maybe we'll get knocked out of everything. But to be out of everything on the 20th of January, that's literally it. So you got 18 games against weaker teams, or Lacazette can look good because we can kind of push them back, but against stronger teams, Van Dijk and whoever they played at centre back today, they weren't under any pressure whatsoever. He pressured their midfield more than their centre backs. And did you notice that he was playing on the right a lot today? He's literally playing on the touchline sometimes. So I don't know. He just doesn't have the legs. I don't see the point of giving him a new contract. I would just rip the whole forward line up.
Yeah.
And just start again.
Yeah.
Because it's just not working. Whatever we're doing there is not working.
I'd just like to say that would be, if it was my choice, I agree 100%. I would rip it all up, that front line, exactly, and start that all again. I wouldn't keep any of those three. Obviously, Balogun going out on loan. The other three, let's start again there.
Yeah. Femi, is there any... I'm a bit behind on the chat. Is there any... any fairness to say that Liverpool are top of the football mountain and we are only halfway up the football mountain? We're on our way out, and things like this are going to happen. You can't realistically go and beat them. We've had a few. We had a really good defensive game against them last time, but when you got the number of players coming back that we had from illness or whatever it was, and then all the other stuff going on, can we really be that angry at them for losing? Because I had no hope for the semi-finals. I mean, the first leg gave me false hope. But then when you look at it and you think, well, hold on a second, we are playing against one of the best teams in the world, and our players are still growing, and we can't score. We haven't got a centre forward who scores goals. And is there any argument to say that might be the point?
I mean, I'm not really angry because I kind of expected us to lose. But the problem with that kind of thing is for example, we've got to play Liverpool in a few weeks in the league. I think the game's been moved because of this cup final now. And then by that time, they'll have Salah and Mane back, for example. So what are we going to say? Are we just going to say today it really looked like men against babies, really? Like, we just seem to not have the personnel to deal with anything that they were throwing at us. And then the problem with that is the system that we were playing wasn't good enough to cover up for the fact that we don't have personnel. So why I say that is, let's look at Brighton, for example. A team like Brighton, they don't have the best personnel individually, but the system that they play, the way that they play, covers up for those types of individual players, doesn't it? We don't seem to have a system or something, a way of playing that, especially going forward, let's say, that just a style of play, something that worries every team. The Man City game was, like I always say, it was really good, but those types of games they're always like a one-off, one every 20, 30 games for us. Those seem like the anomaly. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you had a system that was good, for example, like Liverpool played tonight, Liverpool had quite a few players out tonight, and they still, it's the way they play. It's the way they play. So although we're saying they're top 3 team in the world, they still had a lot of players out tonight, and it was so basic for them. I mean, there was parts of the game that I was falling asleep because I just knew nothing was going to happen.
It didn't look like they even had to try that hard, did it? Every now and then just go try a bit, get a goal, then back off. Meanwhile, we're running. One of you two said running around like a blue-arsed fly, chucking in crosses to absolutely no one. Stan, I just looked. We've scored 1 goal in our last 4 games. We've had 3 defeats and a loss, and scored 1 goal. Is that going to, whoever holds in charge of the money, is that going to make them go, well, if we don't do something and get someone in up front who's going to score goals, this season could be on its arse already after we've worked that hard to get up to the top parts of the table?
We've only, as you say, we've got 18 games to go now, and there's no other distractions. If we want to make a push, now's the time to do it. Now is the time to bring in some reinforcements. But we have been trying to bring in reinforcements. We just haven't been able to get them over the line for whatever reason. I don't think it's a case that we've been lazy. We've been making contact with a lot of people. We just need to try and get that business done. But if the owners of the club want us to get back in Europe, now is the time to get that push going, because we've got no other distractions and it's still within our grasp. But I'm a little bit different to Femi. I am quite angry about today, but not angry that we lost to Liverpool and I'm like, oh, Liverpool beat us. I'm angry that we lost this particular fixture, because Liverpool have been really pissing me off lately, and I'm sure that their antics off the pitch have been getting under the toenails of a lot of other people out there. And I really was wishing that we could just stuff it to them today, But I was very disappointed that even though we're playing at home there were times when we looked like the away team, and the fact that we couldn't even muscle up 1 goal at home and at least take it to them a little bit kind of was a little bit disappointing to me. And I remember writing on my pad at one point, I was writing down, maybe if there's some way that we could go down to 10 men, maybe we'd play better. And I was being a little bit sarcastic. And then obviously when Thomas Partey saw red, I was like, fuck, I got my wish. But it was, too little too late by then. It was curtains. That was the final nail. And that's really now going to hurt us, especially the way that there has been, everybody's been lauding the way that he basically, got the fucking night plane back, hardly sort of like got in his sleep and turned out for us, which is quite commendable. But as somebody else on my timeline that put, maybe that red was a tactical red, so that there's more impetus to bring people in. I know that's not the case, but it did make me chuckle.
Well, the good news is Partey and Xhaka have weeks off now. They've got so much
rushed back
time
for
off
nothing.
Now. Yeah, they're not playing. When is our next game? February the 9th or something like that. after this weekend, so they've got a lot. You can sleep as much as you want.
10th of February away at Wolves, so they've got a lovely 2-week break. 3 weeks.
Yeah, there you
go.
No, they're
going
to have. Xhaka's had how long, hasn't he?
3 weeks. 3 weeks off. Merry Christmas, everyone.
There you go. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I don't. We're not really going minute by minute. We're kind of jumping all over the place, aren't we?
I don't know if
yeah, I don't know if playing Partey was the best thing tonight, to be honest with you, because honestly, like, as much as we all were like, oh no, it's great, he's on the bench. Like, it's when you think about, when we talk about player welfare, that's a little bit crazy. He played on Tuesday, let alone, okay, if a player played, how many players played two games in 2 days? You rarely see that at top level football. He's playing in a hot country, very, very hot country. He's got knocked out, so there's this disappointment of that. Then he's had to jump on a plane. I don't know how long. Someone said the flight is, I don't know how long, maybe let's say an 8-hour flight. And it's an overnight flight because he's landed in the UK at midday, so it must be an overnight flight. Landed in the UK midday, gone straight to the team hotel, and I know we're desperate, but God, you've thrown him on, and he's lasted less than 15 minutes. He's very lucky he didn't get a straight red. I'm not going to lie to you for that tackle. He's very, very lucky. The first one wasn't a yellow, but he's lucky he didn't get a straight red for that one. Now, he's missing the next game. So it's like, sometimes as a manager, you just have to say, you know what? You have to trust. It didn't make a difference anyway. You just have to trust what you have sometimes.
Just looking at the games he played, 10th of January, Morocco 1, Ghana 0. 14th of January, Gabon 1, Ghana 1. 18th of January, Ghana 2, New York Cosmos 3. And then today, so he had a part in 4 games in 10 days.
I mean,
someone's saying Mikel Antonio did the same for after playing for Jamaica, that we're making excuses. I think that's Ant in the chat. But Ant, what you got to remember is Partey went to a tournament. He went to a hot country to a tournament football. It's like someone coming from the Euros and playing 2 days later. Come on, sometimes and you've been disappointed at being knocked out as well. You got to be careful with players sometimes.
I was very surprised to see him on the bench, and I thought, okay, I get it if he's going to be travelling with the team to lend his support and be there. But I definitely, as Femi said, I didn't want us to draw from that well. I did not think it would be a good idea to bring him on with all of that travel and, coming out of the tournament. It just wasn't a good recipe.
Fem, do you think this is going to encourage anyone to pull their finger out and get a striker in? Because I think Aubameyang's done at the club. Even if he manages, Arteta sends in some flowers and some chocolates and he comes back, his heart isn't in it. And he's going to look at going off to play in the Middle East somewhere, and he'll be on an absolute fortune over there. It's £6.8 million deal, agreed deal if he goes there on loan for the rest of the season, and then they'll take up all of his wages. I mean, it's not the 6.8 million that's a good thing. It's not having to pay him for the next 18 months, which is a shame, because he'll go over there and score 50 goals in half a season, because he's still, when he wants to be, a magnificent player.
Yeah, it's all a bit sad, isn't it?
That's one way of looking at it.
It's just like, how did it all go so wrong so quickly? Like, I just don't understand. But
squad depth, that's where it's gone wrong.
Putting that to a side, how is it? I get that. I would love to say, let's just let him go, and it's the best decision. Get his wages off the wage bill, all of that stuff. But if we get rid of Aubameyang and we don't finish top 4, is it worth it? That's what you got to ask yourself. Is it worth it? If we go with what we've got now, we're not finishing top 4. That's the honest truth. And we can try and pretend all we want. We're not going to finish top 4 with Lacazette and Eddie, who both have 1 foot out the door and could sign for a European club any minute, basically, from now on. And then you have to. I don't know what we're going to do in terms of signings. I think we just need to get through the Burnley game on Sunday and then use that break that we have to just get some players in. We have to do something, because you don't really want to be doing loads and loads of business in January, but we've let so many players go that there must be a plan. There has to be a plan. This can't just be just. But if you've got 18 games left, I can understand why you're letting loads of players go, but then if you're short in other areas, it doesn't make sense, to be honest.
Stan, does this go down in the Mikel Arteta, Thomas Partey playbook of errors? It's almost a series on its own. The bringing him back against Spurs too soon and getting him injured. There was another occasion I can't remember, and then this one tonight, rushing him back with a private jet, bringing him on, watching him get sent off, and going, why?
I mean, it's good sometimes when you have a player that's like, no, okay, boss, I feel a lot better. I can play in the next game, or it doesn't matter. The flight was comfortable. I can play. Sometimes a manager's got to manage the player. Even though the player might be showing that they're willing, you have to sometimes save them from themselves, It's great that he rushed to get back with us, but we're bollocks now for the next game. We're in a lot worse, more trouble than we were had he had not rushed back, So we just shot ourselves in the foot. But going on to that Aubameyang rumor, the bid from the Middle East, is that pretty solid or what? Because I was listening to Hugh Wizzy yesterday, who was looking at that story, and he was looking at the Twitter feed of a guy from over that way in Saudi Arabia, and he's got something like 1.4 million followers and does like a lot of football sort of information over that way. And he was saying that no contact has been made whatsoever, and there's not even any contact even being thought about regarding Aubameyang. So I don't know how solid that link is.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like us, as we said earlier, to rip up the front row. If we could get some money for Aubameyang and get him off our books, that would be good, as long as there is obviously someone coming the other way that's going to take his place.
I think with the links, I think the reason why you kind of know that it's solid, obviously we had a couple of the local Arsenal journalists reporting it, but I think tonight, Sammy Mockbell has got a piece on it in the Daily Mail, I think he writes for, but he's gone really in depth.
Okay.
Into it. So he's gone into the two clubs, the managers that want him, why they want him, and that Arsenal are ready to accept, but it's up to Oba now. So Oba and his team are thinking it over, basically. He's gone into that much depth, basically.
So there's 2 teams and they're both in the Middle East, are they?
2 teams, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them is managed by the ex-Monaco manager, Jardine. Yeah.
Jardel?
Okay. Jardine.
Yeah.
Jardine.
Mario, isn't it? Mario. I don't know. Got a quote here from Rudy. Klopp. Martinelli, by the way, everyone should remember that name. Outstanding player.
Oh, my God, stop saying that. He said that before.
Keep your hooks
Leave him
out.
alone.
Yeah.
I passed after that last Liverpool game. There was that picture of him like literally cuddling Saka, which I didn't like. Trying to whisper in his ear.
So, Stan, where do we go from here? I mean, I've made some notes. If you want to refer to any of your notes, you can. I mean, the only thing that actually, I'll have a quick look at my notes. I made 5. Lacazette's free kick wasn't going in, but superb. And then 13th minute, they scored from a corner, but was offside. And then goal from Jota. That was maybe Tomiyasu's fault for slipping, but can't really help that. And Martinelli and the Fabinho penalty, that was never a penalty. Lacazette finally gets a chance, skies it, terrible. Great double save from Ramsdale, but they were offside. And then Jota scored. So have you got any other important notes or anything else that could be relevant to this? Because I think we're all just feeling really deflated. And
yeah, I mean, regarding the actual match itself, I mean, that's it in a nutshell, really. But I mean, you did ask earlier, where do we go from here? And I think it seems to be obvious to all of us here what needs to be done. I think it's obvious to the manager now what needs to be done. It's the striking area. You know, we need someone that can chip in with goals. We need that person that, you know, at least 15 goals in the league is like their bread and butter. If they can get more than that, that's a bonus, because that would really help us out. And then in the middle of the pitch, you know, in the middle of the park, we need reinforcements big time. And I think everybody knows that. I think everyone at the club knows that. So we just got to keep our fingers crossed that we can get people in before this window closes. Otherwise, we could be like scrambling to never mind the top 4 to get into the Europa League, to get into the top 6.
God dear.
Yeah, it can go. The way that the league is, it can go. It's so weird. We're now the games in hand FC, aren't we? We're games in hand, winning them from being level on points with Chelsea, yet we're level on points with Man United. So it's a very balanced. It's a very, like, this is the moment to strike. You know what? Top 4 is there for us this year. It's going to get harder and harder every year if that Conte stays at Tottenham, which I still have a feeling he could just leave. If, you know, or Man United will never be this bad. You know, there's so many. Newcastle are gonna just spend, aren't they? So we have got a chance this year, but we just got to get at least 2 players that can push those first team central midfielders and just someone up front. If we're chasing a guy up front, I'm that's when was the transfer window closed? Was it October last one or end of September? If you've known that you wanted this guy since that time, and, you know, rumors, I don't really like to listen to Italian rumors because there's so many of them. But if you've known that you wanted this guy and it's just back and forth since November, or even November, and you're getting to the end of January, you must have other targets that you can go for. Just get on with it. You have to have something. Something is better than what we have right now.
Got some quotes here. I agree with that. But we did it with Odegaard and saved ourselves 25 million quid. So maybe that's what they're looking at. Rudy's got some quotes. Arteta on Partey, red card. It's a big loss. We have to learn from that. We've played the last 3 games with 10 men. Technically, we didn't. It's 3 out of the last 4 games. We played Nottingham Forest. We didn't get anyone sent off. That was a high note. Got 1 sent off against City, 1 sent off against Liverpool, and then 1 sent off against Liverpool again. So, I mean, 3 red cards in 4 games. That is worrying. And then, like I think I said earlier, Arteta on Tomiyasu. He's done incredible. We didn't want him to play, but at the moment he knew that Cedric and Chambers were unavailable. He said he wanted to play. I mean, I think we all saw that, didn't we? It took him maybe an hour to get into the game, and even then he still wasn't ready. So he's a bit sad that Chambers got an injury, because he'd have done well there. I think he's got. Is there another quote here? No, there's not. Fem, you were going to say something.
No, I was just reading the comments in the chat. I think Craig Barlow was reacting to that comment. He said the fact that Arteta has to talk about Cedric. There you go. Cedric and Chambers shows our squad depth. It's so funny. Chambers has played like 1 game since October. So
yeah,
Tommy. I don't know about Tomiyasu. He looked like he had the wrong boots on today as well. He kept slipping over 100 times. So he didn't look himself today. He's been really good, but he's been struggling quite a lot with injuries recently as well. So we'll get there.
We mentioned this on the pod last night, Stan, that we've bought in since the transfer window opened on the 1st of June. We've bought in 7 players. 17 players have left the club, and we've let 22 players go out on loan. So that's 39 out, 7 in.
Wow, I didn't realise it was that high on the loan.
Yeah, 20. I mean, there's two players have gone out on loan twice, so it could be 20 players, but 22 loans.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, that's up there with Chelsea, and I was just it was just a couple of days ago I was taking the piss out of Chelsea for having so many players out on loan. So thanks for enlightening me on that. But
a lot of them are youth players, though.
Yeah.
But when you look at the players you could say were first team players, you've got Pablo Mari, Maitland-Niles, Bellerin, Nelson, Torreira,
Willock.
Who else is there? Saliba, Guendouzi, Mavropanos. So that's 8 players that you could say would be in and around the first team squad.
Willock as well.
Oh, that was sold him. Yeah, the players that we've sold. I mean, that's 8 that have gone out on loan and first team players that we sold: Kolasinac, Willock, and Louise, and that's it. So there's 4 first team players have been sold, and 7 have gone out on loan. That's a starting 11. Yeah, without a goalkeeper. Not that we need a goalkeeper. But that is, there's definitely something going on, which is why I'm not too angry, Stan, because you can see something's going on. There's there's all Wenger's players and there's all Emery's players, and then there's a couple of stopgap players like Mari that that Arteta has brought in, and you can see there's a process going on. So that's why I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. But definitely something's going on, isn't there? We are moving forward.
Yeah, you can see that they've definitely got a plan of that they're trying to work to. I think since Mikel Arteta has come in, the plan may have changed on a couple of occasions, but it seems like now they found something that they all seem to be agreeing on, and we're gonna find out even more that should any players come in this window, what the profile is going to be. I hope it's kind of nearer to the Vlahovic profile as opposed to the other rumours and the Diego Costa profile. I'd rather stay away from that end of the scale. Thank you very much.
I think he said that he wanted to go to Corinthians and join up with Willian.
Does he want to use my Uber account? It's available. I don't mind.
You got a Brazilian Uber account?
I could get one. Don't worry. If it means that he's not coming over here, I'd find a. But there's a will, there's a way.
Oh dear. Fem, how does it make you feel? Because we talked about on the show last night about all the players leaving. It is. So I know sometimes it's probably better if players leave in an orderly fashion, and then they're replaced by similar players in an orderly fashion. But it seems to be a little bit like the Titanic. Everyone go! Oh, we're going to get in. Is there anyone there? Everyone run! Get out while you can.
I've always felt that with Mikel Arteta and his rebuild, and I said it very early on when he came in as our manager, that I didn't feel that the rebuild would truly be able to get underway until every single one of the players that were here under Arsene Wenger's tenure has gone. Because since Arsene Wenger, the reason that Arsene Wenger went was because the results weren't going in a favourable way. Since then, we've had other people coming to be the manager. We tried Emery. We even had Freddie Ljungberg having a little go in there. And even at the beginning of Mikel Arteta's tenure and through most of that first season, just some terrible performances. And I just think that a lot of those players, until they're all gone, like Lacazette, Aubameyang, Chambers, Holding, Elneny, I think they're the only ones that are really left from that Wenger era. Once they've all gone, then I truly believe that the rebuild will truly be able to start in earnest, because they're the only one constant that's still hanging around the club. We've changed our executive board people, we've changed the manager on a few occasions, but those little groups of player, that group that I named, they're still around, and I just want them to go now. I mean, I still think that perhaps maybe there's a squad place for our players like Chambers, Holding, and maybe to an extent of Elneny, but that would just be being lazy. We've got to upgrade on those players and try something else, because they've had plenty of time. Oh, I forgot to include Xhaka in there as well. Obviously, like, he's the glaring one. He's the linchpin of that posse, But they've all had their opportunity over a long number of seasons now to do something for us, and we've just always fallen. So that they need to go, and we need to upgrade.
You know what my biggest concern about all this is? I'll put my hat as an owner on right now. We're getting rid of a lot of players, Danny. You've mentioned how many players, but I can only think of one player we got a fee for, which was Joe Willock.
Yeah,
a lot of players leave, but we don't actually get any money for them. So when I'm very worried that at some point, the big Stan, sorry Stan,
we got 750 grand for Ben Sheaf from Coventry.
There you go. The big boss Stan is going to come calling and knocking on the door, even to his son. He's going to say, "Son, I need some money here, mate," and we're going to have to sell one of our players to make some money, because we're going to have to sell one of our star young players. I just got that feeling, because you cannot keep signing players and releasing players on a free, and then sign. Like the Pablo Mari one, for example, ridiculous. 14 league games, ridiculous. Come on, that's come on. Like as an owner, I'll be like, okay, what happened here? And if it was like a one-off, I'll be like, okay, it's fine. But then you had the Willian one to back that up as well, which is very similar. Then you got the Cedric one as well. So those 3 signings there, for me as an owner, those will give me heart palpitations, really, because I'll be like, what is going on here? I just paid so much money for 3 players one of them just left for nothing. We released him on a free. Marie's basically gone on loan. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract, but he can't
about
come
10
back.
years.
Yeah, he can't come back. Cedric, we gave a 4-year contract to. He's probably played 15 games or less for this season. So you're just wasting money and you're getting nothing back in. So at some point, you have to start making money. Then, if you're talking about qualifying for Europe, we don't even have we don't have any players to play in Europe. we can't cope with that. So what are we going to do? Sign about 15 players next summer or something? I don't know how the squad management is. It must be driving them mad. They must just have charts and or trying to work out what's going on with the squad.
I think the most overused piece of equipment they must have in their office is the shredder with all the contracts that they're just like terminating. And we started doing that. And it seems now that seems to be a fashion at Arsenal, that once we get a bit of dead wood and they're hanging around for too long, we just tear up their contract and we don't get anything coming back. And that's really bad business. I mean, that can't continue to happen.
And that comment from Joshua Page there, I even forgot that our highest paid player is sitting in the stands right now.
There's been an entire. Go on.
No, that, for example, is another thing that they must have gone to the board or Stan and said, we think it's a really good idea to sign Aubameyang to a 3-year contract at 300 and something. He's going to be the star player, the linchpin. And 2 years later, a year and a half later, he's in the stands, not playing. Like at some point, as an owner, I'll be like, "Oh, what's going on here? Is someone trying to run a scam on me or something?"
Well,
especially if you reel that even further back and you look at what happened with Ozil at the time, he was another player on a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money, and the board went along with him and kept him, allowed him to keep him out of the team, but he's doing it again.
Everyone's put in the chat, our most expensive player is getting more games for his country than his club and goals. I think he's got 2 goals in the AFCON.
Yeah, and an assist. There's another one. You see what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
But I read an article going into details about the Pablo Mari deal. That bloke has cost so much money. Initially, it was £9 million, but then it was a £5 million in January 2020 as a loan, and then £3 million in January 2021, and then a £1 million every 10 games for a maximum of 80 games. So by the 14th of January this year, last year, it cost us £9 million. And I think there was however many games he's played since then. So that's probably another 2 or 3. No, probably hasn't even made he's played 2 or 3. Hasn't even made the other million thing. So that player has cost us £9 million. And at first there was a rumor that it was a $7.5 million loan, and then a $7.5 million to buy him, because that's what we did with Suarez, wasn't it? We paid about $5 million to get him on loan, even though his contract was up in 6 months. Yeah. And then you got all these other players where they're costing an absolute fortune. And never in my life as an Arsenal fan have I known any players to have their contracts ripped up. We've done it with Kolasinac, we've done it with Ozil, we've done it with Mustafi, we've done it with Socrates.
Hey? Liechtensteiner, was he another one that we ripped up?
No, he was only on a 1-year deal. Oh. Liechtensteiner, then he went off to play in, I think he went to play in Spain, maybe Levante or something like that. He went to play for a team near the bottom of Serie A. Did I ask you, Fem, where we go from here then as a club? Do we just trudge on for another 18 games? Or do you think there's any hope that we can rekindle the stuff that we had, the 5-0 Norwich and then the performance against Man City? Do you think it's more down than up for the rest of the season?
It just depends. It depends. I think our next 6 games, our next 6 games are. I saw Albino had a stat actually about our next 6 games. That those were 6 games last season that we got, I think, 3 points in totals, and they're quite straightforward games. Games like Burnley, Villa, Wolves, games like that. I think that will basically tell us our season, because there's not a Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, United in our next 6 games. I think we got Leicester as well. It's time to put the boots on now. Those 6 games, we got two games in February. So look at the date now, 20th of January. So between what's Sunday, the 23rd or 24th? Between the 24th of January and the end of February, we got 3 games in total. Come on, we got to get our shooting boots on here. There's no more excuses. We can still do it. I think when the games do get to that kind of 1 a week stuff, we should be able to do something. But we actually seem to play better when we have regular game time. Actually, when we have a few games off or a week off or something, we seem to look disjointed all the time. So, let's see. The next 6 games, I think, will determine our season. There's no way we should be finishing 7th again. No way from this position.
Especially if everyone else has still got a lot of cup games left. I mean, Liverpool have got the League Cup, they've got the FA Cup, they've got the Champions League. Chelsea have still got all of those competitions.
Plus the Club World Cup as well.
Yeah. So if you've got any questions, we've done 40 minutes. We're going to do a few questions, and we're going to go off and lick our wounds because we're sad. Stan, is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
No, not really. Just to tag on from what Femi was saying there, that it's all, for me, it's what we do in this window is going to define how this season shakes out. If that window slams shut and there's no one has come in, then brace yourselves, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. You might want to turn the volume down on your Twitter feeds, man, because it's going to get loud on there.
People shouting and screaming that they've had it up. I'm not putting up with it anymore. Yeah, so any questions, put them in the chat and we'll answer them. Right, start off with Femi. Craig says, Arteta has the worst disciplined team since he took over. Why do you think this is?
Oh, man, this one's a tough one because we keep getting red cards, but it's not like we're a nasty team or dirty team. I thought we were unlucky because every time we seemed to make a tackle, the referee was ready to give us a yellow card. And Liverpool were making similar tackles, and he was just letting it go. It was quite a weird one, but I mean, what did he get? He could have got a straight red tonight. I think that's the only saving grace. But 14 reds, it's too much. It's too much. You're always playing against it when you're playing with 10 men, and we seem to always struggle. I highly doubt we've won a game under Arteta that we've had 10 men. I highly, highly doubt it. So it's not like when we're playing under Wenger, we used to regularly just go to 10 men and win games, especially in the early days. But yeah, the discipline side of things, it's like you've got it always. A lot of it seems to be second yellows as well. Like, you've got a yellow, you don't need to go steaming into another tackle. Like, it might be at a point where a player's got a yellow now, Arteta might just have to take them off. I think we're getting to that point, because it's as soon as certain players in certain positions get a yellow, your heart just starts getting worried. Gabriel, Xhaka, you just start thinking, oh, they're going to get a red card. They're going to get a red card.
Xhaka don't get seconds. Xhaka don't do second yellows, does he? He just goes straight in, man. He's like that guy that sits at the poker table and just pushes all his chips in and goes, I'm all in. You don't do second yellows, but we do. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that I can remember, a lot of people complaining that we had a soft underbelly and that we were a soft touch. So I am glad that we are putting it about a little bit more, that we're not so easily to be roughed up, but we have I think that we've had some terrible refereeing decisions of late. I'm at the stage now where I'm putting a tinfoil hat on, and I'm even beginning to buy into there's a conspiracy against Arsenal. So
I didn't realise until Thunder put it here that Partey got his 2 yellows in the space of 3 minutes.
I didn't see the first one.
It wasn't
The first
a yellow.
one was
The
just
first
a bit
one was
late.
not. It wasn't a yellow at all. At all, it wasn't a yellow. But once you've got the yellow, I mean, don't make a tackle like that at all.
Yeah, we know that, but they don't seem to do it. Right, Stan, it says one firm formerly knows, is Leno going to Newcastle happening or just a rumour? Any ideas?
Well, it must be a rumour because that's the first I've heard about it. I never knew anything about that, but I was surprised to see him not on the bench, and I thought to myself, is he injured? If he's not injured, then that sounds like something could be happening.
Yeah, Danny, remember last week when we did the show and I said to you, Leno was the cup keeper, and I said I was shocked when I saw Ramsdale in goal last week for the League Cup. And I said, I don't think Leno's playing again this season because we're out of the FA Cup. We're not in Europe. I said, he's not playing again this season. And lo and behold, rumours started this afternoon that Newcastle, as well as an Italian club and a couple of German clubs, are looking to take him on loan. I thought, no, what utter rubbish. We're not going to sell him now. We don't have a backup keeper. Oh, guess what? Arsenal made a bid for the United States. I don't know if he's the first. Is he the first team national keeper? Matt something.
What team is he at?
I don't know their teams, man. I know the American football teams, the Wizards and basketball team.
DC United is the Washington
DC
one.
United, there you go. He plays for DC United. Matt something. We've put in a $5.5 million bid for him. Matt Turner, there you go. Matt Turner. We've put in a bid for him, $5.5 million. So all the rumours just look like Leno's out of the door. That apparently he was just not happy about being dropped for the League Cup last week. And I said that to you, Danny. I said, Leno will not be happy about this.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
Yeah,
there we go.
Either, yeah.
Matt Turner plays for the New England Revolution. No, he doesn't play for any. Oh, New England Revolution.
Revolutions, yeah.
He is 6'3", 27 years old, and 13 games for USA since 2021. Matthew Charles Turner. Never.
So he is their first choice keeper then.
Yeah. Seemingly. Oh, well, that'll be good. It's always good when we get some Americans at the club. We only had, I think, one, Danny Carvassian. That didn't really work out well. We got injured. Avon has asked, would you recall Sleeper at this point? We can't. You're not allowed. So that's not happening. Stan Divyun says, Divyun. Oh, I can't remember if it's Divyun or Divyun. I think when he did it phonetically, it was 00. So Divyun. Do you guys think Fiorentina will take Pepe off our hands?
Again, didn't even know that was something that was on the table. But
or did I?
But
I think he means in a swap for their the striker we want.
And
I don't think that's on the table.
We've already offered Torreira and like a truckload of money. I mean, why don't we just give him the fucking the Queen of England's crown as well? You know, I mean, what does it take?
Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, how much are we going to pay for this guy?
How many players do you want? Right, question for you, Femstar, is from David. He says, who was the last striker that came from Serie A that did well in the Premier League? Fabrizio Ravanelli at Chelsea? No, Middlesbrough?
Definitely not Lukaku, is it?
No, Zola. Zola at Chelsea. There has been loads that have been complete and utter failures. People just get them and they go, 15 million, 20, 30, 40. Stan?
What about the one that... I can see his face, but his name's just popped out in my head. He became Chelsea's manager as well.
Gianluca Vialli.
Yes.
Vialli.
He was all right, wasn't he? Vialli?
Someone said Henry. Oh, there you go. That's a shout. Henry. Well, he wasn't really a striker, but
Dennis Bergkamp.
Bergkamp
came from the Serie. I was actually thinking of the nationality, right? But
Italian.
You came from that league. Didn't do too badly.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of players cross over from Serie A to the Premier League. To be fair,
would you want to leave Italy to come and live here? Oh, the food, the women, the warm weather, the mental case fans that are going to kill you as soon as look at you.
There's not actually a lot of Italian players that I can even think of playing in the league. Of Italian nationality that I can think of that play in the league. I'm sure there may be one or two. Yeah, play in the Premier League. There's maybe one or two, but I can't think of any Italians playing in the Premier League that I can think of. I'm sure there's one or two somewhere.
Yeah. Nova says Balotelli. Well, that worked, didn't work, did work, didn't work, did work, didn't work. Personally, I loved him. He was brilliant.
Well, he's still playing in somewhere.
Yes. Right, next question for you, Femi, is from Ravinda. It says, am I the only one that doesn't want the Vlahovic fella? Agent sounds a nightmare. Who else is gettable? Good luck with that, Fem. I'm going to go and press some buttons.
Mate, like I said before, do you know what the problem is? It's hard to know what goes on behind the scenes because all this noise about him not wanting to come and his agent this and it could just all be smokescreen. You know, the deal could be getting done in the background nice and smoothly for all we know. You know, we don't know because there's so many, and this is quite weird. When you go to sign a player from Italy, the rumors just are crazy. They seem to have a lot of sports papers or football papers out there and all these ITK Twitter accounts that are larger than life, and they seem to want to give you an update every day when sometimes there's just no update, is there? There's just nothing to say, but they come, they shout, oh yes, here we go, and all of this stuff, and there's nothing going on. It's just, and they say, well, he doesn't want to come, and sometimes it doesn't help the player, does it? Because the player might be something might be getting done. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the comment. Something might be getting done, but you know, we don't know. So, you know, he looks a good player. I finally let myself watch a compilation the other day. That means he probably won't come now.
That means you're an expert.
Yeah, I'm an expert now. Yeah, expert scout. He looks a good player, but you know, it's one of those ones where it's if it happens, it happens. If not, just move on quickly.
I'm just looking at that Darwin Nunes. He's pretty. He scores the goals. He's 6'2", Uruguayan 22.
13 goals in 14, right? 6 assists.
14 in 15 in the league, and 19 in 24 all comps.
Benfica.
Okay.
Uruguayan. He came up on my radar about a month ago. Someone said, "What about this guy?" And I'd never heard of him, so I watched a few videos and looked him up. And I was like,
"Expert."
Yes.
Yeah, I'm an expert on him now.
Yes.
But yeah, he looked, got some good numbers.
Okay, question.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I did also hear that again. Well, Newcastle seemed to be linked with everyone, but they were linked with Darwin Nunes in the story that I read as well. But as I just said, they're linked with everybody at the minute.
Divune says, "How is it feasible to swap 3 players for one? Has it ever been done before in Italy? Those sort of deals, because you'd have part ownership. Sometimes you'd have 5 or 6 players going to one club and one coming back the other way. But in the UK, I don't ever know if anyone's let 2 players. God knows we've tried in the Wenger years. Have everybody. Just give us someone who isn't shit." And then his final question from Divian says, "Wasn't Fiorentina sold for 160 million euros in 2019? We should just buy the club. That's a bucket load of players we can call them." Oh dear.
It could be our feeder club, right?
Yeah, that worked well with Beveren, didn't it? We got in trouble and I think we nearly got banned from Europe for that. The shenanigans that was going on. So, I think that's a good way to end the show.
So I just read that comment by Craig Barlow, but it was at a glance, and I thought it said Newcastle are linked with Madonna, and I was like, huh? And then I saw the R.
Surprised. Well, just get out there, get her pointy boobs out, and do some voguing on the pitch. Oh, Cardiff says Salah. He come from Serie A, but I think I was thinking Italian strikers, but Vlahovic isn't Italian, is he? Buy the club. That's what we need to do. And Calvert-Lewin, I'm not sold on him.
I don't know. Knowing our lot, we'll buy the club. They'll be our feeder club, and the player will still say he wants to go to Juventus.
Apparently, Ravinda says her knees have gone. That's the Madonna deal over and done with then. Right, we're nearly done an hour. Thank you very much to everybody who turned up tonight for this this post-mortem of something that was we didn't. I mean, I've had. Tell you, this is what I've had. One apple in 26 hours. This is what I do for you people. I haven't eaten. It's 10:45. Now I'm going to go and make my dinner because I was watching the game and getting stuff, and I didn't get up till late and blah 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 blah. So thank you very much, everybody in the chat who joined us. We couldn't do this without you lot turning up. If you're new, give it a subscribe. If you liked it, give it a tickle on the thumbs up. Femstar, thank you very much.
Thank
with
you.
your new headphones.
Yeah, loving it.
They're a little bit quiet, but you are quite a softly spoken gentleman. I've noticed that. So
let me know next time. I can turn them up.
Oh, he's got buttons on his headphones.
Buttons on my headphones.
Excellent. Stan, thank you very much as usual. You're becoming a bit of a regular on these shows. Do like having you on. Someone of my generation.
Thank you for having me on, and I did enjoy talking to the both of you today. Even though we didn't get what we wanted, it was good to get it off my chest. So thank you.
So where can people find you? Have you got any podcasts? I saw you were drinking. You were drinking a big pint glass or big mug of beer the last time I watched you a couple of nights ago with the Bearded Gooner and that lot.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. Arsenal. My Arsenal sort of beer glass that I usually have my beers out of because it's late at night when I'm on doing the shows. But I will be on tonight. It's Thursday night, so I will be on later on the Arsenal fan circle with Ray and all the guys. And if anybody's up late in the UK, come and check us out. We're going to be on at about 5:40 PST time, and we are. Well, are we 8 hours behind you lot in the UK? So if anybody's up, come in and have a listen, and you can listen to us talk about this all over again. And I'll just say all the same stuff. I've got a script.
Never know. You might be able to get a few pearls of wisdom that Femi has let out, and then follow them off as your own. That's what I like to do.
If you're listening late, you'd be like, hold on a minute, he's recycling the same jokes.
I said that. Anyway, right. Thank you very much, everybody. We will be back possibly on Sunday if that game doesn't get cancelled with a preview show and a post-game show. And I'm going to be working on a new intro. I'm making an intro video. I've had an idea. I'm going to do it, and then we'll see what an absolute mess I make of it. So we will see you all later. Thank you very much, and good night.